generally don't want to be heard. So microphones are a COVID issue. Oh, I know. Trust me. I am so over this. We have to make sure our senior citizens like Rick stay safe. All about you, Rick. Exactly.
Good afternoon. Sorry, I ran into some traffic on Route 30. There's an accident, so I'll be to the meeting as soon as I can.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, Matt, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Hutch.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township public meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. Due to the COVID-19 virus and Governor Wolf's orders limiting indoor gatherings, in-person attendance for this meeting is being limited to a maximum of 25 people who will be observing social distancing. Additionally, based upon the order of the Secretary of Health regarding face coverings, all participants in the public meeting room are required to wear a face covering unless they fit into one of the order's exceptions. When speaking, while maintaining social distance, participants may remove their face covering. Therefore, this meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the township's YouTube channel. The township is expecting to utilize this vehicle for all future public meetings during and after the COVID-19 crisis. Please continue to check the township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the township's website and will be posted on the front of the township building. The township will also be recording the meeting and making it available for viewing via the township website and YouTube channel. While every effort will be made to ensure the live streaming and website are working, East Lampeter Township takes no responsibility for and cannot be held liable for the unavailability of live streaming in part or in full due to technical issues beyond its control. Live streams and recordings of all meetings remain the property of East Lampeter Township and are protected by copyright. Access to live streams and recordings of meetings is provided for personal and non-commercial use. Video, images, and audio must not be altered, reproduced, or republished without permission of East Lampeter Township. It is suggested that all participants on Zoom mute their microphone during the meeting until they wish to speak, make a motion, or vote. All votes will be taken by roll call so that they can be properly recorded. In order to accommodate public comments at this meeting, the Township will be accepting public comments in writing or via email. Instructions for the submission of public comments are available on the Township website. All those providing public comments will be required to provide their name and address in order for their comments to be read into the record. Inappropriate comments will not be read into the record. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
Okay, welcome to the April meeting of the East Lampeter Sewer Authority, and I invite you to join us in the pledge of the American flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, present here we have Township Manager Ralph Hutchison, Brent Stolzfus, Todd Stump, myself, Rick Robinson, Fred Clark, and Vinny Battelle. Matt Cici, the engineer, will be joining us shortly. We have had the minutes from the March meeting for probably at least 3 weeks now, so unless there's any additions or corrections, they'll stand approved as written. Treasurer's report.
Rick, we have a balance of $13,430.68.
Have any bills?
We do have some bills to pay. HRG, check number 466 in the amount of $2,633.42. And check numbers 467 through 471 in the amount of $25 each to each member present on the authority, for a grand total of $2,758.42.
Wait to approve the payment of the bills, see if there's requisitions when Matt gets here. Do we have any stormwater bills? Okay, got check number 68016. Bunch of different ones there. They're not in order of any sort. But the total for that is 2008.5.78. I totaled it up for the meeting today. Okay. So guess we're looking for a motion to pay them bills for the stormwater. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Matt will be here with any requisitions that need to be
Yeah,
dealt
we'll wait
with.
till he gets here, then we'll approve the bills and requisitions for the sanitary sewer. Are there? Matt here for the Stalfer Run upgrade, right?
Yes.
Road project, yep.
I can report a little bit on the Greenfield Road work. We have been working with the one property owner whose building sits closest to the alignment of the new stormwater pipe in there. He's concerned about the construction activity possibly doing any damage to the building. So we've been working with him to have an engineer out there to do measurements and what engineers normally do to see if there's any issues with the construction activity when it happens. So we're at a point now where we're close to having him sign off on the easement. And so that'll get us that much closer to being able to get the project out to bid.
Anyone know of any other old business that we need to discuss? Matt? Welcome. Probably. Is this the same report? Yep. Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Okay, Matt, we got through the bills. We're looking for any requisitions for the sanitary sewer system.
I have one requisition, number 03-576, payable to Herbert Roland Grubik, Inc. for the Stauffer Run Pump Station Pump Replacement Design, the amount of $4,998.50.
Okay. We're looking for a motion to pay the bills and requisitions for the sanitary sewer. We have a motion, if we have a second. I'll second. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, we're going to old business now. Under the sanitary sewer, the Stauffer Run upgrade.
Thank you. We are working on finalizing the design for that project. We had a site visit last week to review some information with staff. During that time, we discovered floor level in the wet well was higher than, constructed higher than was shown on the drawings. So that changes the operational levels of the wet well slightly for our design purposes. So we're working through that process right now. But still intend to get drawings to finalize drawings to the township staff review this month. Give them an opportunity to come out to check over. A higher wet well level basically impacts the operation. Drawings originally showed elbow that's not that pulled down. Not sure why that's fixed. Why it didn't do that. Working through it. At South Run out of Lisa. So what we're looking at is the operating levels of what the typical water level is. They have to raise up a off level. That's something to slow down.
Okay. Stormwater. Old business. Greenfield Road project.
Yeah, I don't really have anything more to add than what I offered earlier.
Okay. Any other old business? New business, sanitary sewer, treehouse discussion.
Um, Solicitor Cream is still working with legal counsel for Treehouse to resolve the issues about the agreement, consent agreement, I guess you'd call it. And so those issues have not yet been resolved. Well, I did say that I happened to see Matt last evening. And, I did suggest that, maybe we need to take whatever the next step would be to put some more pressure on Treehouse to move this along, because it's, the condition isn't good there and we need to get it addressed. So,
Keeps.
I'll get a hold of Matt again and try to emphasize that the authority wants us to move along.
Okay, facility pump number 2 piping quote.
After last month's meeting, staff went back to Heisey Mechanical to have them break out the pricing for piping installation at that facility and suction piping. And they also revised their quote to include carbon steel valves instead of stainless. Breakdown of the quote. And they broke it down based upon pump, the pump suction piping replacement. So the cost to replace the pump number 2 center suction piping, wide configuration, pipes themselves, requires valves. Total cost of that is $32,428. And then the cost to add in pump 1 and pump 3 suction pumps, they each total $14,650. Total of all three of them, $61,600. Just under $11,000 less based on. With that work, township staff still has a level of application for this project. That's basically cleaning out the what well that we're going to be working. We're at a minimum fully pump number 2. The township staff has to open the well side. With that, it's a minimum of doing each one well once. In the future, that pump 1, pump 3. The question is whether the board wants to do at this time. If one of the three is not simultaneously, it's based on township staff.
I understood the composition of the line.
Correct.
Lower
Lower, it's the straightening vein. The why was to minimize the turn.
Right.
And it adds a straightening vein to help if there's any circulation of water.
But wasn't pump 1 and pump 3 just straight shot?
They're straight through already.
What's the purpose?
That the purpose of that, if there's any storage.
But if it was, we would see termination of the pump, right?
Not sure if it's given their configuration is different than Hub 2. I think it's, model we have done at similar stations. The model we've done, they upgraded their product, that one station, putting straight to bed. Not like model. I think pump number 2 is the one that was started.
But I'm not hearing a compelling argument why to spend $29,000.
Um,
It would be more of a preventative action.
Think of that. What's the material that the valves are currently?
current valves are cast iron. Valves here would be cast steel box. I don't know. I mean, I know that based on board's direction.
Right.
So, yeah, they are.
Right. So the money's going to spend that. Stainless steel dollars obviously looks better than what's there now. But I still don't see it. But the engineers who we look to, I'm just going to say, not being very convincing, right? So I'm sorry, I'm full of common sense. That's how I work.
Pump 2, in my opinion,
I get that.
Yep.
That makes sense. But the other two just seem like easier. Also, they all look nice and pretty.
I think at some point in the future, the valves, the pump 1 and 3.
But that's just a simple one bolt bracket.
Correct. It's disassembly required.
Disassembly,
Yep.
unbolt the valve, slide it out, slide a new one in, fold it up.
That's fine, if that's the authority preference, that's fine. We just wanted to bring the information to the authority.
That's what it's all about. That's what I.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts on this?
Based upon the pricing now, there really doesn't appear to be much difference.
The question, Matt, I see in the minutes from our last month's meeting that staff will get the cost for the impeller replacement for pump 1 and 3. Is that part of this cost, or is that something, a separate item?
That's a separate item.
They were pretty expensive.
They were. That's a separate item from this year. Go back probably 2 or 3 meetings ago.
Gotcha.
So, looking for approval to go ahead with the pump 2 replacement. I'll make a motion to go ahead with the pump 2 replacement.
moved. Route 30 relocation east of Saldersburg Road.
Thank you, and thank you to the board for the various emails here. This is a project that came up quick. PennDOT is working on replacement of the Route 30 bridge at Hickory Creek. At that location, there are authority has low pressure sewer lines on either side of the road. Currently, PennDOT's bridge is going to with that, with PennDOT's work coming up, this work can be incorporated into the PennDOT contract, so their contract will be there is a reimbursement component. PennDOT will reimburse a portion of the cost, or possibly all the cost. What PennDOT is looking for, I think PennDOT's looking for any documentation, property. So Charlie and staff is looking to find property. But we haven't been able to find.
This is early 90s vintage. No.
So if we had that documentation, we could provide that to PennDOT. Document ownership. It would generally cover 100% of the cost. At this point, without that ownership interest,
Matt is involved. He's been talking with Charlie about what we'll need to do to get the appropriate easements for the new locations of the system.
working through that process. And
Is it gonna be really invasive? Is property owners gonna give us a hard time?
I don't think it's going to be extremely invasive.
I think the work that we're going to be doing is going to be within the temporary construction easements that PennDOT's going to require for their. They're looking to basically.
Yeah, just to be real clear, at least what I heard Matt say was this was over the Peckway. It's not. It's over a tributary to the
It's a
Peckway.
little stream,
It's a small tributary that goes down through.
not a break bridge, but
It's a culvert, a small
Yeah.
bridge, whatever you want to call it.
But thank you for processing that. I think there's just a ratification. Just ratify what. Ratify the application.
So that we have record in the minutes that it was approved. To authorize HRG to complete the necessary engineering for this project.
necessary document.
second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Any other new business? Sanitary sewer. Stormwater.
Maybe before we go over past the sanitary, it just occurred to me, we did have a partners meeting, sewer partners meeting, on, well, yesterday morning, I guess it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Had positive discussions there. There were a couple of things that will affect East Lampeter. Not sure that the first one had to much degree, but Manor Township over on the west side of town apparently still has a sanitary system. And they've had, or used to have, an agreement with the city to convey that flow in bulk into the city system. That agreement apparently expired a number of years ago. So Manor has wanted to get out of the sewer business for a long time. So they're now selling their system to LASA, who will then add that to their system, and that'll be incorporated in with the other partners agreements. So our share, I guess, of the shared system is going to go down. So our costs will be somewhat reduced as a result of that. Not a lot, but somewhat by that. Yeah, less is better. They're also asking us, based upon their efforts to ultimately upgrade the treatment plant, they're asking for additional flow projection information. So they've asked us to provide them with flow projections through 2038 at all the various points where East Lampeter system connects into the larger system. So we'll be asking Matt to help us with that, to do that, as well as our planning folks, and come up with those numbers. They gave us until 2 months basically to develop that information for them. Was there anything else from that meeting that you thought we ought to report on, Matt?
The city changed their capital projections list, and now they have basically immediate projects, what they're forecasting, I think, over the next 4 years as well. So that more so coincides with their capital improvement planning that they're doing. That's included in that breakdown.
So I think that's helpful, that we can see a little bit farther out as to what's going to be coming from the city's perspective. As is the case with those sorts of projections, it's a best guess at this point. So, there's likely to be movement in those dates and projections as they present them. But at least it's some information that we can start to now. Basically adds projects that the city feels they're going to need to complete farther out into the future.
The other thing I would add is, if you're not aware, any development that's occurring in the township requires the use right now of a full-blown planning module. And the city indicated they see that requirement probably being at least another 3 years, based upon their negotiations with EPA and the long-term control plan. They're thinking it's probably going to take them 3 years to come to an agreement the long-term control plan. Any planning module exemptions. So any project that basically, if you're doing 2 or more EUs, so subdivide, at all.
Still do a planning module, permit it, they're not gonna turn it down.
They're not gonna turn it down, but they're just not processing it.
Yeah, I mean, the result of this is that, you know, an exemption might cost the property owner $100 to get prepared, processed. Maybe that's a little bit too low, but it's inexpensive to do that. To do a full-blown planning module, depending on the size of the project, you're looking at several $1,000s. Right, anything under 100 EDUs, you could get an exemption for. And so now, for about 3 years, we think, it's gonna, it's about a stack of papers of about an inch high that gets sent into DEP and
An exemption, basically, the authority and staff are basically acknowledging that there is capacity in the system to handle that flow. Full-blown planning module, you have to document. So it's an additional effort.
we dealt with this in the north pumping station portion of the system for years. We had moratorium up there. And, you know, they basically said until the north pumping station gets upgraded and completed, yeah, that moratorium. So I forget how many years that went on. That was a long time.
But this isn't a moratorium, it's just a lot of extra costs.
Well, it's basically the same kind of moratorium that you have to do these planning modules. So once the north pumping station got upgraded and finalized, you know, we could do exemptions in that section of the township then. Now they're saying, well, the whole system, anywhere that goes to the city, you have to do modules. So it's a little bit frustrating, a lot frustrating maybe. Thanks for mentioning that, Matt. I had forgotten about that.
Any other new business with the sanitary sewer?
Not that I can think of.
Any new business with stormwater?
We continue to work on the MS4 projects as well as the ongoing MS4 obligations. So hopefully as we get a couple of these projects more into engineering, we'll be bringing that information back to you before we get to construction.
How's the collection of the fees?
It's been going well.
Not a lot of backlash.
Well, yeah, we still get questions and concerns about it, but you know, for the most part, I think, you know, we've had a fair amount of success with, you know, being able to explain to people what it is and why it is. There's some that, you know, just don't accept it, and
Don't pay it?
there's some that have chosen not to pay it at all. Others that have paid reluctantly.
How long do you let that go?
It's pretty much the same as what we've done with collections of the sanitary system. You know, we'll let it go for a while, but
File lien against their property?
ultimately, yeah. It takes a while, you know, until you get a balance that makes it worth the cost of going through that process. It's not really worth it. And candidly, the amount of the stormwater fee is, for typical residents is small, so it'll take a long time for
Until
that
they
to
go to
build
sell
up
their
to a
property.
point.
Until they go to sell their property.
Correct.
But it'll add up over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
Any other business? Motion to adjourn? So moved.